Hi, everybody. June here from Red Daisy Crafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of San Antonio, Texas, and I'm glad to be here today to do some paper crafting with you using the June Paper Pumpkin Bikes and Blooms. We're going to do some alternate card ideas today, and we're going to go down to the table and get busy. Okay, so we are working with the Bikes and Blooms. I'm going to get my little box out here. These are all the pieces I have left, which is not much. I only have a few items left. This kit made 3 beautiful bike cards. You could make 3 of each of the designs, or you can do like I do and make alternates. And so here is an alternate card we made last week. And here is another one that we made last week. This is a little bit of an easel card that goes like that and stands up. You have a place to write on the inside. So I've got a couple of ideas for today. We're going to start out with one that's really, really simple. Mainly because we are down to the last few supplies. So this is a little piece that was left over from a card base. I have for the inside of the card, I have a piece of old olive. It is 5 1/4 by 5 inches, and then I have a basic layer that is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So this is going to go on the inside of the card. And I have a basic white card base. It is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and just burnish that score line with the bone folder. And get that ready to go. Now I have another layer of old olive for the front. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. And then we have the piece from the kit. Now I did cut off the bottom, this side, and the top 1/16 of an inch. Okay. And that's going to fit perfectly onto this layer, just to give a little bit of frame around it. Okay. And then I have the 2 pieces that kind of coordinate with that, just because I had them left over. Otherwise, I don't think I need them. And we are going to put our card together. So this is going to be super simple. I do have one other piece. Where is it? Here it is. So this piece is from the card envelope in the kit, and it is a square at 1 1/4 inch that we're going to use to put the sentiment on. Hi, Wanda. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a good week. We have a lot going on at work right now, but it was a fun week. Thank you for all the kind wishes. Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for joining. All right, so I'm just creating a little bit of a layer on the inside, just making it a little bit more festive, just because I knew that this was going to be a super simple card, because we are down to the last bits of what I have left in the kit. So we are going to just have that on the inside for a place to write a message, and we're going to add this right here just to give it some more fun on the inside of here. And I probably could have done the stamping before I put all this down, but I am going to add a few of these butterflies on the inside of the card, and we are going to use the Calypso Coral, and I'm just going to add a couple right up here, and then I'm going to add this single one right down here, and then you can have a place to write right there in the middle. So that's the inside of our card. And then we will put this outside together. So this is a very, this creates a very small frame around the outside of the old olive piece here. So it's like just like a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. And then, like I said, I took a 1/16 of an inch off on 3 sides of this piece to be able to have this little extra layer here that I think just helps that bike just pop off that front very nicely. So we have all of those pieces there. So that's kind of the easy part, right? And then I have this little piece here, and we're going to put "Have a Lovely Day" on here. And I am going to use the Calypso Coral ink. And I'm just realizing, oh, I did clean my stamp. Okay, I was afraid I had used it earlier with a different color. I was afraid I had not cleaned it. All right, so we are going to put that on here, just like that. And then we're going to add this right down here, like so. And we are going to glue it down. I would like to pop it up, except this is from the envelope paper and it's kind of thin, so I just think it's better to just tack it down. Give it a better look. There we go. So that is our card front. Okay, now we are going to add these, and no surprise because we've done it before. I'm not really sure what to do with these other than what they have done with them. I know there's people who have done probably lots of different things with them, but I hate for them to go to waste. So we're going to add it on to the front here, just like so, and give the card just a little bit of dimension. And we're going to add this one right over here, like that. There we go. And I think we'll just add one of these butterflies to our little sentiment area right down here. And that is our little simple card today. So like I said, this one was going to be super simple. We're using some of the pieces from the kit, but brought in cardstock. Just a really nice little card here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the next one. Now, I kind of gave you a little bit of show of this one last week. Let me see if I got all the pieces out of there. So again, this is a bit of an easel card, okay? And we're going to do some stamping on the card base and create the little holder there for it. And so I have the pieces. Now, as you can see, I'm using this in here. We might need to do some trimming at some point, but that's going to be on the inside of the card. And this is going to go on the inside here like that. And we'll do a stamping on that as well. So we're going to need a stamp on those two pieces right there. Move this out of the way. Now we have our flowers that are going to go in the basket. We have our bicycle die cut here that we're going to be using in here. So I'm going to move that out of the way. And then we are going to be cutting this piece of a card base. We're going to be trimming that down. So we are going to trim this down to 2.5 inches by 4 inches. So let me grab our trimmer here. So we need 2.5 inches. Okay, and then by 4. So we'll get that taken care of. Oh, thank you. Yeah, these little bikes are fun. Okay. All right, so we are going to use the bottom half of this for the inside of here. This is 1.5 inches by 4. So I'm going to flip this around so I can get that dark edge on the bottom of here. And then we will put that in my little envelope where I have my little leftover bits. And then this is by 4 inches as well. And I think that's everything we need to cut to this card. Then we will do some stamping. Now I know I have my foam mat out here. Here it is, sitting right next to me. And let's do our stamping. Okay, so we are going to, got a little yawny. All right, so we need our little flower piece that goes in here, and it kind of lines up with those little white clouds. I'm calling those little clouds. And so we're going to just get that taken care of right here. There we go. So that's that piece. Okay. And then we are going to stamp a bike. So let me clean this. And we're going to use the Calypso Coral to ink this up. And we're going to put a bike right up here at the top. That's going to go on the inside card. And then we're going to add the "Have a Lovely Day" to the little half or kind of cut off circle right there. And I believe now we have one other thing here. So I have some scratch paper. So I don't know if you can see it, but we have little flowers at the bottom of here. Okay. And so I just took the that same flower that we used for the flower I guess basket. So I'm just kind of changing this around here to go in different directions at the bottom of here. And that way I'm just going across the bottom of that page. And that's going to go right there on the front of the card. Okay. And then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some butterflies to this piece here, which is our card base. And I should score this before we do that so we know where we need to place the stamping. And so we have a 4 1/4 by 11. So I am going to score it at 5 1/2 inches right there. Okay. And then I'm also going to score it at, I think it's 2 3/4 is what it is. Yeah, 2 3/4 as well. And that is going to be our score line to get the easel part of the card. All right, so we are going to be stamping like in this particular area, but I'm okay if I go a little bit off the sides. But we do need to clean our stamp because we're going to use crushed curry on this so that we can have like tone on tone of our card base. Okay. And just gives it a nice look. Oh, just pulled a little piece of that paper right up. I just think it looks nice when you do the tone on tone here. All right. So I'm going to take the one with 2 and I'm going to start over here. And now that I didn't get a good stamp there, I'm going to come in this way and see if I can cover that up. So I did. All right, so we're going to have one here and there and there, there, there. And now let's add in some of these here. There we go. All right, so now we have our little background done on that. And we can go ahead and burnish the score lines here. So there's that. So let's go ahead and start with the inside of our card. So this is going to go right there in the center. Get my liquid glue out. How's everybody doing today? Have you had a chance to play with your kit, Wanda? I know last week you were going to get started. It's been a fun kit. I do think it's been a little challenging with the large size of the die cuts, but I feel like we've ended up with some fun things. So I'm going to add this on here, and then I'm going to trim off that excess. So I'm just going to glue this down here like so. And then I'm just going to trim off this little extra here. See what that does. There we go. Move that out of the way. Then we need some dimensionals. Oh, I thought I had some bigger ones over there. I guess I need to open up a pack because I am out of the big ones. And I keep trying to use the little ones, and well, you don't need little ones all the time. So just need to get a new one out. All right, so we're going to add some dimensionals to this to get our little kick, what I call a kick stand. It's going to be like to prop up our easel. All right, and so that is going to just go right on here like so. And just like that right here. All right. And so that's how that goes. It just holds it right up right there. So we are, just doing that. All right. So now let's put the front together. You got sidetracked. Oh, nice. Well, that sounds nice. Hopefully y'all are getting a little bit warmed up there. And I think weather is so strange. Yesterday it rained like crazy here, and it was down to 75. Oh my goodness, is that crazy or what? Oh, Valley Suite. Oh, gotcha. Yes, that sounds lovely. All right, so we are going to be putting our bike right onto here. All right, but we are going to add it with dimensionals, but we're only going to put dimensionals down on this part of it because this is going to be standing up. And so now we do want those little mini dimensionals. Put one there. I'll put one right up here and right here. And I think one will go right there without being seen. And there. And here. And here. There. Let's see. I think I can get one on the wheel as well. Gotta straighten him out. Oh, it doesn't want to play nice. All right, we'll start with another one, and maybe we'll just go ahead and trim one. I feel like I was able to get it on there, but it's really snug, so we're just gonna do a half one right there. So that's everywhere we're gonna put. Oh, I'm gonna put the other half on the kickstand. There we go. All right. Oh, wow. Still 30s. Wow. Goodness. Isn't it usually warmer by now, Wanda? I feel like it is normally. Yeah, we're going to have rain all week. So I imagine it's going to be either really humid and hot and yucky, or it's going to be cooler this week, which is really interesting to me. I also did something fun yesterday and went and got a pedicure, which I haven't done in a very long time. It was lovely. All right, so I am putting the bicycle right up against the edge of here, and the wheel right at the bottom of the old olive piece down here at the bottom. So we have our little easel looking card right there. And we are going to be adding this right on top of here with some dimensionals. And then we'll add a couple of butterflies to it. Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry. My goodness, I didn't even think about it. You have to say, get with it, June. That's what you have to say. All right, so there we have that. So cute. So let's just add a couple little butterflies. I really think the one up here is really cute. And then we'll add one here. And then I did put one down here. I thought that was kind of fun because that way you see it whenever you stand it up. You're so odd. No, I think you're normal up there, and we just do it differently. That's all. All right, so that is our second card, and it's a really fun easel card. I think anybody would brighten anybody's day, especially this time of year. So we got that, and now I have one more for us, and it's probably the one that will take the most effort. And so we are going to be just using the stamps from the kit. Now on the card we make, we're going to use a little bit of the card base from the kit itself, but we're going to make this. So this is like a panel card, 3-panel card, I guess. And I brought in the postage dies. So I have them here, the perennial postage dies. So I'm using this one right here. Okay. And then I am also using the one that we got in the quarterly, which is from the Beautiful Bloom. So I think this was the second quarter dies. So I'm using that one. And the paper that I am using for this comes from the, oh gosh, do I not have the name of it? Oops, I thought I had the name, sorry. But I may not. Oh no. I thought I had the name. I don't know if I have. I don't think I have it handy. Well, this was one of the DSP papers from the catalog. And it may have been one of the online incentives, but this paper is really, really beautiful. And I'll show you. So this paper here has this floral, which has like a little bit of a foiling on it. And then this was on the other side. So just a really fun way to use the stamps, you know, and I did use my last piece like this, and I flipped it over to use the white side. And then on the back, it just looks like this. You have a place to write your sentiment. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. That's so nice. You're old school sometimes, like measuring. Yeah. And so I really enjoyed how this turned out, but I thought we'll make a different style, meaning exact same thing, but just using different elements. Okay, so we're going to create this from the start, and I'm bringing in just a different piece of DSP from that same DSP pack. And it's this one that I think is so beautiful with the the Calypso Coral in it and the Old Olive. And then this is on the flip side. This is just a probably a second generation or maybe even a third generation of Calypso Coral. And so we have that we're going to work with. But I'm also going to be bringing in, I have this one card base left. Okay. And so we are going to use this as the card base to make the panel card. Okay. Now I also have some of the Calypso Coral cardstock that we're going to use in one little place, and we're going to stamp some butterflies on there. This paper is absolutely gorgeous. It really, really is. So we're gonna do that. Now there is going to be the score line that's in the middle, but we're going to cover it up with this for the most part. And then I have already die cut the quarterly die of the postage shape out in the Calypso Coral. And then I have the one that is the perennial postage. I did cut one out of basic white to do some stamping with that. Okay. And then I also have from the kit this little banner piece for a sentiment. And then I had this little piece that was also from the kit that we could use to add the sentiment to the card. So it'd be just a little bit different. So we're going to do some scoring and cutting first to get all of our things together. So this is a 5.5 by 8.5 card base. Okay. And you're going to score in 1 7/8 and then 3 inches. Okay. And then you're going to flip it around and do 1 7/8 and 3 inches. Okay. And that is the measurement for the scoring. So we're going to use this card base from the kit. It's my last card base that I had left. So we're just going to score that, and then I'm going to move over to the 3-inch mark and we'll score there. Then I'm going to flip it around and we'll do this again. So 1 7/8 first. And then 3 inches right here. Okay. All right. So like I said, we have the score line down the center, and sometimes I like to try and just kind of flatten it out. So I'll bring this in and just lightly go over it, which will just make it a little less predominant, but that's that piece. So we're going to keep that. Then we need I'm going to go ahead and just cut off 3/4 of an inch right here. And I need 2 at 5 1/4. So 1 and then 2 right here. Okay. So we have those pieces there. And then I am going to cut this, and I need 1 at 1 5/8 inch. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and get a second one at 1 5/8. Okay. So that's the sides. And then I need one at 2 1/4, I think. Let me measure. Yes, 2 1/4. Now I am going to trim these down to 5 1/4 inch. I didn't want to trim that whole sheet off, so I decided to do it this way. So that's one, and then 5 1/4 on this one, and 5 1/4 on this one. All right. So those are those pieces. Put that aside. And I believe that is everything we need for this card. We're going to do some stamping before we start to assemble. So we're going to stamp on here, we're going to stamp on here and here. And we're going to use the Calypso Coral ink, and I'm just going to add some butter. I'm going to use this little single butterfly to just put them right up the edge. And so I'm going to do it, and I'm going to stamp one down, and then I am going to do a second generation like that. And it's just doing a little kind of a stripe of butterflies up this little 7/8 or 3/4 of an inch here. There we go. Let me come down here like that. So that's how that looks right there. Okay, and we're just going to have that right there, and then I'm going to do it again on this one. So I start out down here, then we will do that and that. Very cute. So just like that. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now we are going to stamp the thank you onto this little banner. And that's going to be our sentiment. So I'm going to put it a little bit off, or maybe it's right in the center, but we may trim that. Not sure yet. And then we're going to do our bicycle onto this little basic white piece right here. And I'm just want to make sure I get it as much in the center as I can, and straight as I can. So it looks like we did a good job. There we go. It's a really nice image. All right, so we don't need that anymore. So I'm going to get our card base back out here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and burnish these score lines. All right. Now, because the back of the card is already white, I did not plan to put anything back there, but you could very easily add a little decor to it, okay? Just to give it a little bit more interest, okay? So that's kind of how it goes there, all right? And so we are going to take these little panels, and they're going to go right on these little pieces that kind of fold to the back. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put those down. And put that right here. At first, when I started to do this, I was thinking I would cut the card base out of the Calypso Coral cardstock and then use the card base from the kit to add this piece on here, but I love this. I'm so glad it worked out this way. So now this is going to go right here, and that kind of just takes care of that whole score line that's going down the center of that. Okay, so we're just going to put that right on here, and then we will add the other ones as to the sides. So put one here and one here. I could have very easily flipped this over and used that other side, but who would want to cover up this gorgeous floral pattern? And I think this is such a summery paper that it goes well with the bike. So I think it's just a nice little add to it. So that's what we kind of have there. So it stands up like that. You know, it's going to be such a pretty card when it's standing up. Okay. All right. So let's see here. So we're going to have this down here at the bottom, and it looks like that fits perfectly across there. And so maybe we just add this on top of here. So I'm going to just put the glue right down the center of that. And we'll have this like that. Just hanging a little bit off the edge there. And then we'll trim off this side. And I think that is such a nice little add to the, just matches so perfectly to the card base. It is. I think so too, Cheryl. So pretty. Sometimes I get tired of all the florals, but then they come out with stuff like this and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. All right. So what I did with this, because this is kind of a weird, they don't really go well together. And so I decided I was going to put it all the way to one side. And then I'm going to wrap around some linen thread and have a bow over here. And that's going to make this kind of even out and lay well. So I'm just going to get off some of my linen thread here so that I can wind this around a couple of times and we can get kind of a big bow going over here. So 1 and 2. Is that enough? I think I want a little more. There we go. One and 2. There we go. All right. And then just turn this to the side a little bit to tie my bow. And I'm going to put it all the way over here at the edge like that. There we go. And then I'll shorten up the loops. Like that. that'll be that. All right. And then we're going to add this on here with dimensionals. And I'm just going to add a few on here. Like so. Yeah, I think it looks so good. Thank you. All right, so this is how this is going to go on here. So it kind of looks like that. So now I feel like it kind of makes up for that weird hang off. So then I just try to make sure I have this centered properly when I put it down, so that, and I'm using all my little scallops, right, to make sure I get my piece on here. Oh, thank you, Wanda. That's so sweet. All right, so I'm just going to put one there and one there, one there, and one there, and we'll put one right on that. And get these off of here. Like that. And now we're just going to put this down. Right there. And so that's how it will go in the envelope, right? And it just stands up like that. And really, really cute. We could have added a butterfly stamp there, but I have one butterfly left and thought, oh, we're going to add it right here. Right there. And that's that. All right. So we did it. These are the alternates for this month's card. And really, really fun. So next week, I will not be around next Sunday. And actually, it's going to be 2 weeks because I'm going to a conference. And I won't be back until then, but then we'll get back and we'll get it right into July, and we will unbox and make alternates and have a lot of fun with the July paper pumpkin. I don't even know what it is because I haven't even looked. So if you have any questions about paper pumpkin, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to have you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin through me. I love sending treats in the mail and making alternate projects, showing you how to create more fun things with the kit. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend and a great week ahead. Bye, everybody.